Hey y'all, welcome back to Colored Couch Conversations, a podcast where I have intimate conversations with women of color on my couch. Today, my special guest and I will discuss the industry, the entertainment industry that is, diversity, and Jeffree Star. We will also give advice to someone who is thinking of going back to their ex in what we call the Keep It Real Corner. I'm your host, Jazmyn W., and my guest today is a stand-up comedian and actress based in LA. Give it up for Brandi Denise. Hey, Brandi.
Hi.
How are you?
Girl, I'm good. I'm in New York in quarantine, so it's like nerve-wracking because I'm in New York. It's beautiful and I can't go anywhere and do anything. So, yeah.
How long are you going to be in New York? Like, are you going to be there long enough to get out of quarantine?
So, I'm here quarantining 14 days, then I film and then I leave. So, not really, no.
Wow. And just to be clear, Brandi does not have COVID, but I think it's because you're traveling from California to New York, right?
Mandatory 14-day quarantine, and they're really following all the procedures with production. So, yeah. I'm trying to respect the rules. I don't want to be the sick person, so I'm going to stay in.
Yeah, go ahead and stay in. Go ahead and stay in because, you know, if something happened and you went out and you tried to go and have a little cocktail or something, you'd be feeling bad. Okay, well, y'all, listen. Brandi is hilarious. And y'all know I don't be saying that, okay? Period. I don't be lying to y'all about who funny and who not, okay? You can follow her on Instagram at LOL Brandi Denise. That's LOLBRANDI Denise, DENISE. Brandi, is Denise your last name or middle name?
It's my middle name.
Okay, cool.
I use that for certain reasons. When I first started comedy, I worked in I can't even think of the word. I worked for the government basically. Yeah. And so I was doing a lot of comedy stuff and I just didn't want people looking me up. You know, they know my real name, so I just use Brandi Denise, and it's just stuck.
Yeah, I use a stage name too, Jazmyn W, and it's so annoying actually because I did a video about having a Nigerian last name, and I saw somebody commented and put my my legal name on there, and I blocked them. I'm like, if I wanted y'all to know, I would have told you.
Wow, because with acting, they use my full name, and so it's Brandi Denise Boyd, but when I get on stage and perform, I just say Brandi Denise. I might switch it up.
No, I think Brandi Denise is cute. All right, well, we always start the podcast off with a quote of the day, and you know this quote because you chose it, and it is, "That's your little red wagon. You can push it or pull it," by your mom. What does that quote mean to you?
So I think my grandmother used to say that to her, and for me, in reference to other people, it's about not letting other people's problems absorb you. That's your little red wagon. You can do whatever you want to do with it. And in reference to myself, it's your little red wagon. You can push it or you can pull it. You can either make it harder on yourself, you can make it easier on yourself. It's always two options in everything that you do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just really simple. It's concise. It's to the point. And it's just the way to just release things. It could be harder, it could be easier, or it's my problem or it's not. And that's it.
Wow. I assume that pushing it is harder than pulling it.
I think pushing it is, I think whichever way you look at it, whether you're pushing it or you're pulling it, it's really your decision. Yeah. So I really think that's what the thing is. My mother would say that, she would be like, well, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And if I couldn't make up my mind, she'd be like, well, that's your little red wagon. You can push it or you can pull it. She just figure it out.
I think moms have such a great way of being like, well, listen, figure it out. You know what I mean? And then once they say that, you just have to.
Right. There's no other options. It's okay, well, she's not helping, so.
Exactly. All right. Well, y'all, we have some random questions. I always like to ask my guests random questions because it gives everybody an opportunity to know you. Okay. Brandi, I think this question is really weird. I get this question all the time as a comedian, but I thought I would ask you because people ask me all the time, and I'm sure they ask you, when did you first know that you were funny?
I guess I knew at a young age when I was able to get myself out of trouble by doing cracking jokes and just being funny. Especially I really, really realized and took advantage of it in high school. But even when I was a kid, I remember this one particular situation. It's just, my parents were in the military, so I started school in Germany. Okay. And so I went to a German preschool. And before I went to school, my mother had already taught me how to write my name and things like that. And so my German teacher had wanted to have a conference with my mother to let her know that she believed that I was dyslexic. And so my mother comes in and she, she a Black mama. She's like, my daughter is not dyslexic. Like, I don't know why you think my daughter is dyslexic. And she showed my mom all these papers. Like, well, she keeps writing everything backwards. Like, we should get her tested. And so my mom was like, Brandi, write your name. And so I wrote my name the right way. And I had to be like 4 or 5. And the teacher was like, well, Brandi, why have you been writing it the other way? And I just looked up at her and I was like, because I thought it was funny. Like, yeah. So it's so many stories like that where I would just do shit to entertain myself and people were just confused. I had just a bunch of little things. And I just kind of knew what to say to people to get them to laugh and just like let go of me being in trouble.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know you went to school. I didn't know you traveled, around the world and you were like born somewhere else. Do you speak any other languages?
No. It's videos of me speaking German when I was a kid, but like we left there probably when I was around 7 or 8. Yeah, I've been a lot of places, and I think that I encourage people to travel with their children because as an adult, I lived in 3 different cities on my own. Like I just pick up and move. Oh, this is the new vibe. So I think it gave me that opportunity or that confidence to just go places and meet new people and start over. It's when you grew up doing that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we could do this.
I feel like a lot of people that I've met who have traveled a lot as a kid, they had trouble starting over. Do you think that your sense of humor made that easier for you?
It did, but I also was very, like, I didn't always, like, I don't have childhood friends because we did move so much. And it was like, I'll be cool with people and stuff. And then, I don't know, we just fall off. So most of my friends are from college. But yeah, I mean, I have like cousins and stuff from my childhood, but I don't know. I think I'm such a open and honest and real person that I make friends easily, but then I realize that they not always my friends back. And so I've been more guarded with my friendship as I've gotten older. People might consider it standoffish. It's not standoffish. I'm just observing you first. Because if I see I don't like the way you acting with other people, I'm not going to open myself up to that.
Exactly. That's what I be talking about on Instagram all the time. That's that weird energy. Like I was very observant as a kid too. I want to see how you treat other people, how long you treat them the way that you treat them, if you're treating them good or bad,
They say it's standoffish, but it's like, no, I'm just watching.
All right. What's the hardest thing in your opinion about being a woman in comedy?
The boys club. Because it's like I'm in a boys club, but once you get over that speed hump of niggas trying to fuck you for stage time, you good.
Ciao.
Once they like no longer see you as just a girl that does comedy and they see you as their equivalent, then it's a lot easier because it's like I can headline the show. I've headlined shows and just had men open for me. And once you get to that point, it's kind of just like being a woman in comedy is just kind of like out the window at that point. You don't even see it as that anymore. I'm 10 years in though, but like in my earlier years, it was a lot of that. And like, I remember one promoter had like asked me when I came to do his show out of state, if he could take me on a date. I looked at his calendar. I said, well, Mike headlined for you last week. Did you take him on a date?
Okay.
So yeah, I've been very, very like vocal about it. And I think that that's one of the pitfalls women fall into. They don't want to hurt their ego, but whatever. I don't mind hurting your ego if it's going to have you respect me. And if you don't respect me, you wasn't gonna respect me if I slept with you anyway. Yeah, you really gotta like really stand firm in that and not even be, egotistical or mean or rude or anything, but just the way you present and carry yourself. You can be cool and really just have a standard or have like this persona or this aura about you that's just like you don't step to her like.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And I've met so many women who try to tell me that I'm wrong about that because I have a video on YouTube too where I talk about how I worked at Hooters and I'm a woman, I do comedy, and people, sometimes when I tell women, men do not have the audacity to approach me like that because even when I was working at Hooters, I never had an issue with being disrespected or anything like that because that's not how I carry myself. Like, point blank period. I don't know, like, come on now. Men already get a vibe from you on, your self-esteem, your self-worth and stuff like that.
I think definitely men prey on women who aren't confident in comedy. And so if I come on like, who's featuring for me? How much time is he doing? Where is he? I come in like this is my show and y'all not about to fuck it up. They'd be like, okay, well, they really, the last thing they trying to do is get on my nerves and ask me out. They like, we have to put this together for her. I'm like, and when are y'all cutting the check? Where is it going? Like, you know, I come in very like hands on. I don't like my shit to look whack ever.
That's really good advice. Well, you know, you are an actress as well. You are on season 6 of Power. As an actress, how do you feel about diversity in casting right now, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement? Every company saying, "Oh, we're on board with Black Lives Matter and equality and creating opportunity for people of color and Black people." How are you feeling about that as an actress right now?
I think it sounds nice, but I've been auditioning for huge networks, like their diversity programs, CBS, ABC, NBC, all these different things. And as hard as they try, it's always still this little voice in the back of your head when you walk in and you see these people judging you, and none of them look like you. I've said that even now where I'm at right now, I'm not auditioning for all white people no more. Don't come in and tell me that you want diversity and then you can't even hire diversity within
casting.
You know? Then a lot of these programs, they not paying, so it's like they kind of doing you a favor. Also, a feeling I get, like I just auditioned for one network. They had 20,000 submissions.
Wow.
I had 5 rounds of auditions, 4 hours apiece.
4 hours a piece of 5 rounds?
3 rounds of 4 hours. The other 2 were self-tapes, which I probably spent a couple hours on too. Yeah. But 3 live virtual 4-hour rounds. And it was crazy because I'm sitting up there counting how many Black women do they have. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because I'm like, well, I know they're not going to take all 4 of us. They only going to take 2 of us. And then you could look and you could be like, oh, well, she's bisexual, so they're probably going to take her. And you just try to figure out where you fit in. Because it's like, okay, well, they got 8 slots. They're not taking 4 Black women. We know that. Yeah. And that's the unfortunate part about it, because I still feel like it's never looked at as talent. It's still looked at like these check boxes that they have to fill. And it's just like, I don't mind not doing diversity things. If you're going to base it on talent, I'm talented.
Yeah.
But I don't want to fill your check box. I had an audition for a commercial, and it was like my first commercial callback. I do not like commercials that much. I don't know. It's my first commercial callback. I get into the callback, it's 7 white girls and me. And mind you, it's a commercial about a family. So I'm like, well, y'all know if the parents are white or Black, because if they white, I'm not the daughter. And so it just really felt like I was there so they could just say that they didn't have all these white women, but they definitely had 7 white women and 1 Black girl. And I'm supposed to be the daughter. And I'm like, well, do y'all have 7 Black parents?
Right.
You know, and so stuff like that is just, I felt like it was a waste of my time when I went in there and saw that, like, y'all, you know. But I feel like with working on Power, which is my first TV show, and now I'm on the spinoff Ghost, which premieres tonight on the app, of the Starz app. I'm on the episode 1 and
Congratulations on that as well, because that's huge. I think one thing about Brandi is she talks about herself in a very humble way. I have to say, you know, to say that you are talented is true, but it's also an understatement, because you are extremely talented. And, you know, oh, I'm on Power, I'm on this. The way she talks about herself as if it's not a big deal. It's huge. But so congratulations.
Thank you. A lot of my friends say that. One of my best friends is like, oh, girl, you know, I know why God ain't blessed me like that, because if he blessed me like that, I would not be acting like you.
Not humble at all.
Yeah, but I don't even think it's humble. I just think it's just like, it just is what it is. But I have so many more bigger dreams and hopes for myself that for me, this is just a step along the way.
Yes.
So I'm really happy to be on this show because the creator is a Black woman.
Yeah.
A lot of the executive producers are Black. I've been directed by Black people, hair and makeup, clothing. Everybody's Black. The cast is probably split half Black, half not Black, and it's like people of color and a couple of like other white people and stuff like that. But it's just it's so nice because I'm not the one of the people who went to theater school. I took a lot of improv and comedy class and stuff, but just to walk on set and like really be honest, like, hey y'all, I'm a comedian. They booked me. I'm happy to be here. I got a couple questions. I don't really know, like, how should I do this? How should I do that? Everybody was just so like understanding to that and really nice. And it wasn't just like, like I felt really comfortable just being around, and not even saying it because they were Black people, but in a sense, this is like you're around your own people, and they've been doing this for years and they're really successful. And then the creator, talk about humble. She's so nice. She's just like, Brandi, thanks for coming back. I'm like, thanks for having me back.
Right.
She's just so nice and very conversational. I've had like conversations with her, and even going to like the rap parties and walking up to her and her being like, Brandi, I'm like, you know my name. It's like, it's really nice. And I'm happy that this was my first experience. I feel blessed that I came into a very just like working with talented people who look like me. Like, some people work their whole career to get to a point where they're finally like surrounded by PAs who look like them, lighting people who look like them, sound techs, you know what I'm saying? Like all these people, and even the people who don't look like me, it's like they've worked around people who look like me for so long that it's just not even weird.
Yeah.
So it's really a great experience for it to be the first.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting anything less moving forward.
Okay, you shouldn't, child. I think it's okay to say, because people on set were Black, I felt more comfortable. Because that's just the reality, like we see all these examples of how Black women are made to be fussy or, like we high maintenance, we argumentative, all of these things, So having people on set that understand that this is just a question that I have or an adjustment that I'd like to make, not because I'm high maintenance or complaining, but just because it's more natural for me. So what's a good example of diversity casting besides Power that you've seen, or like one of your favorite movies or TV shows that did really good when it came to diversity casting?
It's really hard to like think about that like right off the top of my head, but when I think of diversity casting, I think of it not being like a Black show.
Yeah.
But it's a show where the lead is white, but they do a good job of surrounding the lead with other people who look like the real world,
Right.
So one of the shows that I've just recently finished, it comes on the CW, but Netflix picked it up. So season 1 and season 2 are on Netflix. It's called In the Dark.
Okay.
And it's about a blind alcoholic girl who is also a hoe. It's such a funny, dark show.
Really?
The show is based around her trying to find the killer for her best friend, who's a 17-year-old Black boy. You see him in every episode. He's such a great actor.
Yeah.
She worked her stepfather's a Black man. I mean, her adopted father's a Black man. Her adopted mother is white. It's a really good show. And it's another show on Freeform that I can't think of the name of it. That surrounds like 2 white girls growing up in LA, but they have checked every fucking box you could think of. They got the she, him, and days. They got the old young relationship. They got the transsexual. They got the Black. They got the Hispanic. They got the Asian lesbian. And it's not in a way that's forced down your throat. Like, this person came into the office today is a lesbian Asian girl. No, this is really Hollywood. These are the people that you really know.
Exactly.
And so it just, those 2 shows for me really stand out. And they're really good because it's like somebody couldn't find anybody on that show to connect with. And because it is so diverse, it might pull in different types of people, but because it's a good show, people will stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples is Cinderella with Brandi. I love the blind casting on that because we talked about that on last episode of this podcast too. But, as a kid, I forgot that there was blind casting on that movie. Like as a kid, I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, her man Asian, her daddy white. What's the big deal?
Her prince was real fine. I remember thinking that.
Fine.
And that was the first time I think as a kid I had ever even looked at like an Asian guy and been like, oh, okay.
Okay.
We need to see more of that.
It's so weird now that I think about it. Where's the prince now? I don't remember ever seeing him in anything else.
Girl, the way people be changing up the looks, you'd be surprised. He probably on all kind of shows.
Okay, well, the last question I have for the random questions is, what's your favorite movie in general?
Catch Me If You Can.
Really? I never seen that.
I love that movie. I love that movie, and I love Crooklyn.
Okay.
In Crooklyn, Crooklyn, because like it's something I used to watch my mother a lot growing up, and
Yeah.
it's just such a feel good Black movie. And I can't think of the actress name. What's her name? She played the mother in it. I can't think of her name. It's a very different name, but she just gave her kids so many lessons, before she passed along. And then Catch Me If You Can. I just love that movie too because it's just like it was just so easy to be a con artist, like back in the 60s. Like he's like 17 flying he's 17. He's making money in his bathtub. He's writing checks, making fake checks in his bathtub, and has convinced the world that he's a pilot and is flying across the country cashing these fake checks. And he's 17, and this is a real man who did this, who now works with the FBI. Like that movie to me is just so crazy. And I don't know, that's the type of movie I would want to play in too, where you just get to put on all these different hats of just being a con artist. It's just like,
I have one more random question for you, kind of like stemming off of that, but we're going to take a quick break and I'll ask you when we come back. Hey y'all, welcome back to Colored Couch Conversations. I'm here with actress and comedian Brandi Denise. You can follow her on Instagram at LOL Brandi Denise. And we were talking about her favorite movie. I get the feeling, okay, I have one more random question for you. I get the feeling that you would enjoy playing a villain. So would you rather play a villain or the good person?
Definitely the villain. Definitely the villain. Like, girl, just the quarantine, I've been going to the gun range and like in my head, I'm just like, I'm ready to like shoot up some shit, blow up some shit. I want to like run away. And I don't know. I just want to do all this like bad stuff. Like,
Could you see yourself, okay, if you were in an action movie, would you do your own stunts or would you try to at least?
If they train me, they pay for training. So definitely. I'm not jumping off of nothing. No. I'm not jumping off of nothing moving. No, nothing high. I'm not jumping off of nothing. I'll run and slide across the car. Like, I'll run and I do some fake fight moves, but I ain't jumping. I'm afraid I ain't jumping off of nothing. But even playing the character that I play on Power is so fun because, they put me in like G-strings and lace and da-da-da-da-da. They have me walking through the club, passing off cocaine and not who I am at all. So it's like fun. It's like I'm a drug dealer stripper and like she's super ghetto. So it's just like I get to play like my cousin.
Okay. We all got girl, I got so many cousins like that. You have no idea.
So it's fun because people were like, where'd you get the inspiration? I'm like, my cousin Cheryl, that's who that character is.
Girl, no, you didn't call Cheryl out.
She already knew it. When she saw it, she was like, I already know you was acting like me. I already know it. she knows.
That's hilarious, girl. Okay, well, let's talk about some trending topics. I told you at the top of the episode we were going to talk about Jeffree Starr, and he has caused some recent controversy because he's dating a black man after he's made racist comments about just about every race. I saw a montage on Twitter where he literally talked about Hispanic people, black people, Asian people, said the N-word. It was like a 2-minute montage of his racism. The guy he's dating is an NBA player named Andre Marhold. Do you think, Brandi, that he's dating him for clout? Have you heard of this story?
I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with Jeffree Starr, but I heard that he was racist and now he's dating a black man. But like, I feel like anytime you get somebody who thrives off of the public opinion, they're going to go with what's trending. And right now, Black Lives Matter.
Oh.
So as his PR person, I will be like, you need to go find a black man. I don't know if it's genuine, especially considering like that black man baby mama came out and was like, why you hurt me, blah, blah, blah.
The thing about it is I actually didn't think about him doing it because being with a black man is trendy, because being with a black man to me is always trendy. Like, it's trendy. Like, I don't, sometimes, I'm not saying that everybody in an interracial relationship is doing it for the clout or whatever the case is. That's not true. People fall in love with who they fall in love with. But I do think that we have to pay attention to when people get popular and the people that they choose to date. They do it because it's trendy,
Some of these people like know the mechanics of being popular. And they work that to their advantage. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he sent those pictures to the shade room himself.
Right.
He dropped the makeup line that same week that he did it. That's some like Kris Jenner plotting and planning.
That's true.
Like that boy might not even be gay, but he like, listen, I'm gonna take you 20 racks to take this picture with me. Or he might be gay, who knows?
Well, yeah, I guess my question is, as a black man who's very attractive, okay, Andre Marhold, it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, you probably have the picking to be or date most of anybody you wanted to, what could he possibly have to gain out of dating?
And that's what makes me feel like it's fake. Because I just can't believe that he's with this woman. He has a kid with her, right?
Yeah.
What she found out on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, above all, whether you gay, you straight, whatever, you're a father first.
Yeah.
And why would you not have that conversation with her first before that coming out? So all of it seems scamish to me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she knows too. They probably paid her to make that post as well. They probably sit there on the beach drinking margaritas. He probably sucking on her titties because he ain't really gay. And they probably their baby.
So it's all a scheme. It's a scheme that Todd set up.
They probably was like, listen, my makeup line drops. If you do this for me, I'll give you a piece of the stock in it for your child. I don't know what they did, but if we having money, it might, if I ever got really, really big and somebody was like, oh, well, you guys would make a cute it couple, and all we gotta do is like go out to dinner 2-3 times.
Yeah.
Let's go to dinner, nigga.
Okay.
To sell this movie. They gonna really think we love each other.
That's actually a really good point too. If only you got to do is if the only thing you have to do is make a couple of photo ops, why not?
Because we don't know what they doing. I ain't seen no pornos. I don't know what they doing.
Right. I guess my other question for you about that is I was on Twitter and a lot of people were like, and these were not black people. Well, some of them were actually, so let me stop. But they were like, Jeffrey has changed. That was a long time ago. And the thing I thought is if you make one disparaging comment about any race and you learned your lesson from that, I might believe that. But he literally made like 20 or 30 racist statements. Do you think people like that can change?
I think he probably feels how he feels, but I think that like the overall changing factor would be it hurting his pockets.
Right.
If I know all I gotta do is say, I'm sorry and shut up, and keep how I feel in my close circle, then I'm not gonna say nothing.
Right.
And that's that.
And that's that. Okay. Well,
on to comedians too, because I mean, everything you think ain't it doesn't have to be said, because sometimes you also might not feel that way forever. And y'all ain't gonna cancel me. Somebody was trying to cancel me from a comedy club because I was like, ain't no other time to burn down shit and loot. Ain't nobody working. Tear that shit down.
Okay.
Why would you want her to work at your club if she's telling people to burn stuff down? Blah, blah, blah. Girl, the club owner messaged me and was like, little does he know you can come perform here whenever you want to. And then I had several other clubs reach out to me and was like, we love Brandi Denise.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, which Ace Hardware you on?
Okay. Do you own Target or Wendy's? Because, all right, well, the next trend, I have so much to say about that, but let's just move on. Jacob Blake was on in the news this week, yesterday and the day before, because we saw him attend court from his hospital bed. He had on a button-up shirt and a tie. It was also reported that he was Shot several times, of course, and paralyzed. We don't know if it's permanent yet, but it was also reported he was chained to his hospital bed. And I thought that this treatment was actually really disgusting. He's paralyzed. I mean, where is he going to go? He has been shot several times. I don't know why he's chained to his bed, and I don't really understand why he had to attend court. So my question for you is, have you seen the system mistreat any Black men or Black women in your family or friend group that just really kind of disappointed you?
It's crazy because most of my childhood was spent in Florida, and I personally haven't seen it. I have myself been stopped by the cops.
You rolling your eyes. What's that about?
They pulled up behind me. It was not a parking space. I did not see their car. The parking lot didn't have no lights. I put my car into reverse and I hit them.
Wow.
And they jumped out. They was like, "You hit a cop car?" I said, "Well, why are you parked behind me? That's not a parking space. And I did see your car. You don't got no lights or nothing."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You want to go to jail? How many times have you been to jail? What are your kids gonna think?" Just saying all this. I'm like, first of all, I don't have no kids. I ain't never been to jail. I ain't going to jail. And it was just like real crazy. He was trying to like, "Yeah, what do you have in your car?" Like, I was like laughing at him. And then it was like a Black dude and a Hispanic dude. And I was like, "Yo, y'all really riding this?" I was like, "Y'all really on something right now. Y'all tripping." I was like, "Cause y'all parked behind me." And I was not backing down, girl. They probably should have. I'm surprised I didn't slam my head in concrete. But I was not backing down. I was like, "Y'all was behind me. Y'all was supposed to be there. I ain't never been to jail. What you gonna arrest me for?" I was just going. He's like, "You hit a cop car. You was supposed to be there." I'm going off. But like, I'm thankful to not have seen it like up close and personal in my real life. But I definitely know friends who told me very, very like stressful stories as far as them like being like followed home when they walking home from school. They like 12 and the cops following them home. Like, "Where you going? Let me check your book bag." Like, this is a kid.
Yeah.
So I have 5 nephews, all under the age of 4, and I'm so just terrified for them. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just want to be with them everywhere they go.
Yeah. Hold on. So you hit a cop car, but hitting a cop car is not against the law. It's an accident. So how long ago was this, and what were you in Florida?
This was in Chicago on the South Side, and it was probably 2013. Yeah, they just like let me go because, like you said, it's not against the law. It was like an accident. So if anything, you're gonna write me a ticket.
Right.
You're gonna take me to jail. Like, I didn't maliciously, like, you literally pulled up behind me as I was backing out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it.
Did they not try to give you a breathalyzer or something like that to see if you'd been drinking?
No, they have mentioned it, but I was like, I'm literally on my way home from work. What are y'all doing? Like, I just talked to them like they was idiots.
Okay.
Like, how many times have you been to jail? "No, you want to go back?" I'm like, I ain't never been to jail. I don't go to jail. What are you talking
Right.
about? Yeah, so.
That's crazy. You know, I've seen so many men in my family be mistreated by the police, heard stories. I've seen my husband be mistreated by the police for no reason. It's never physical. It's more embarrassing, humiliating than it is physical. And it's just kind of like the Jacob Blake situation, the humiliation of being chained to your hospital bed after being shot that many times is a common occurrence. But I just found out that my cousin is, who I've never met because he's been in prison. He has life in prison because of Alabama has a 3 strikes rule. And when he was young, he was like 17, 18, he wrote a couple of bad checks. And I think he did like robbery without a weapon, like he robbed somebody. He got his 3rd strike and he's been in jail for life. And my mom was like, honestly, the offenses, you know, weren't even that bad. None of them were violent, you know, like he did rob somebody. Okay. He's young. He's 17 or 18. And then he wrote a couple of bad checks or something like that when he was 18 or 19. And he got 3 strikes. And now he's been in jail his whole life. He's 70 So they're trying to get him out. So So I just thought that, it's not to say that Jacob Blake was perfect, or even, my cousin family member was perfect, but it's like, why don't we have any opportunity for people who have a record to change their life around? You know what I mean? Instead of treating them this way. So I thought I would ask you.
It's supposed to be rehabilitation, but really it's not rehabilitating anything, because when you get out, you don't have the resources to rehabilitate your life because they've also taken all of those away.
Yeah.
But I did think of a situation that my mother had told me about. So my mother works for the sheriff's department in the county that she lives in. And she's worked there for probably over 15 years, closer to 20. And my sister's boyfriend at the time had just died. And he had a tragic motorcycle accident, and they were having a memorial for him at this motorcycle club they used to hang out with, right? So my mom drove my sister over there, and this had to be probably 7 years ago. The cops pulled out behind my mom, and it was almost like they were waiting for people to leave that memorial, and they were just pulling them over on the way out. So my mom told me, when cops pull you over, they touch the back of your car, so their fingerprints are on it, just in case you leave and a car turns up somewhere else. So she said she had noticed right out the rearview mirror that he had touched the back of her car. And she was like, what the fuck? I'm not going to drive off. So she said he pulls up and he's like, yeah, your tail light is out, and so my mom was like, okay, well, here goes my license registration. She said she looked over and his partner had a gun in my sister's face. My sister is 3 years younger than me. He had the gun drawn, pointing at my sister. And my mom is like, what the fuck are y'all doing? And they don't know she works for the sheriff's department. Yeah. But they're like, she's like, why y'all got guns drawn? It's a tail light.
Right.
And she's just like, she said she don't even think my sister didn't even look over and see that man there because it was dark. She didn't even see him. But she just said that she was just so mad. And then the way he was just talking to her, like, yeah, well, you might want to get your boyfriend to fix that. My mom's been married for 30 years. She was like, why I gotta have a boyfriend? I got a husband.
Yeah.
Why you got a gun drawn? And that's what really made him stop. She was like, my daughter is my sister at the time might have been 23. She's like, my daughter boyfriend just died. Why? She's 23. Why do you have a gun pointed at her head over a tail light?
Yeah.
And then he called his friend off. But she was just like, what the fuck?
Wow. Do you feel like there was anything that your mom could have done about that, because she does work at the sheriff's office?
So it happened in a different county than the one she works in. I think she took their information. I don't think she ever reported them. It's just the follow through would be so hard. And then it's who are you following through to? Because if it's just they all corrupt, then.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that I would have definitely taken it as high as I could have taken it.
Even my husband being harassed here in Hollywood by the police, I was like, what's the badge number? I want to I looked at he got a ticket, and I just wanted to report it and complain. But my husband was like, nah, because that puts me at risk. If you go complain, they know that if they wrote me the ticket, the officer knows who I was. He knows what kind of car I drive. I live in this neighborhood. The police station's right up the street. He could harass me. You know what I mean? He's just more concerned about the after effects or the retaliation than the getting justice part, because his life is at risk. And so I had to respect that by not calling the police department or doing anything else. But, yeah, it's just so unfortunate because we feel like there's not much we can do, Right.
That's why we need to defund the police.
Okay. Defund. We really do. You know what I mean? We need other resources. So, well, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to step in the Keep It Real corner. We're going to be giving advice to someone who is thinking about going back to their ex. So we'll talk more about that when we come back. Hey y'all, welcome back to Colored Couch Conversations. We are in the Keep It Real corner. And Brandi, this question came from Instagram. So this person says, it's not Nobody, y'all need to give me some more information, okay? Because they say, I'm thinking of going back to my ex. Is that ever a good idea? What are your thoughts?
That is your little red wagon, and you can push it or you can pull it. That's what I think. I think that's such a terrible question to ask. First of all, who is your ex? If he's Jeffrey Dahmer, absolutely not. Like, who's your ex? Like, you don't got no more information, sis? Just like, did he beat you? Did he have a baby on you?
Okay.
Because you cheated? Like, what are the stipulations around this? I think that if you gotta, I think that if you need to ask somebody if you should go back to your ex, then you probably shouldn't go back to your ex.
Right.
I don't think that's anybody else's decision. It sounds like he might have been like playing with you, and he about to still play with you, and you want somebody to tell you that you should go back so you could blame it on somebody else when he played with you again. That's what it sounds like.
I agree 100% with everything Brandi said. If you got to ask me, child, if you got to ask Brandi on Instagram, honey, no. Move on with your life.
You gotta have details. I think the fact that she left the details out makes it even more of a no. Because if she was like, we just disagreed on like, he was a vegan, I was a vegetarian, and the reason we broke up wasn't that big of a deal. Like, she don't got no details. He probably got a whole baby on the way. She's like, should I get back with my ex? The details. Did he sleep with your friend?
Okay. Did he sleep with your mama or your sister, girl? Because you leaving out major facts.
Right. It depends on why y'all broke up.
You know what? In my personal experience, I've never seen it work out. I've tried to go back to a couple of exes in the past, and that shit don't never work, girl. Move on with your life. Ever.
I've never gone back with an ex. Not to say I would be opposed to it. Maybe one, but I've just never done it. Because it's like, for me, once I get to that point where I'm just like, okay, I'm over it. It's like, I just see things differently, and I'm not the same person I was. So it's like weird, but I'm not completely against it. If I feel like it was something really good there, then by all means, pull your wagon, baby.
Yeah, I'm totally against it. Don't do it. Move forward. How you gonna move forward? You looking back. My daddy always used to say, when you run track, you never look back because that slows you down.
Yes, this is true.
Okay, Brandi, well, we're coming to the end of the episode. Tell us what you're working on, and tell us the name of the new show that you're on once again.
Okay, so the new show coming out is called Ghost. It is Power Book 2. It's part of the Power universe. I'm very happy to be in the spinoff because my character actually started only being in one episode. So then she ended up in more, and then she ended up in a spinoff. So That's premiering tomorrow night on Starr at 9 p.m. And you can watch the whole season. I'm on a couple of episodes of that. We're still filming right now. And then just be on the lookout. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on YouTube at Brandi Denise Comedy.
Yeah, she has comedy clips on there y'all can watch.
Really good comedy clips on there. You don't have to pay for them. And so, yeah, you can just watch those, and definitely be on the lookout. More things coming up. Not doing any stand-up until Biden is in office.
Vote.
Right.
Well, listen, y'all, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on the platform you're listening on right now. And if you loved Colored Couch Conversations, make sure to tell someone about the show, okay? Do not be selfish. You can follow us on Instagram at Colored Couch Conversations, and you can watch the show on my YouTube. That's comedian Jazmyn W on YouTube, spelled Jazmyn, thanks to my dad. And thank you so much, Brandi, for being on the show.
Thank you. This was fun.
It was fun. We'll see y'all later.